Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. I'm recording the show rather late, unfortunately, so I'm going to go ahead and try to have a brief yet concise set review of Avengers Defenders War. And there's going to be some key elements that I think need to be brought up about this set. And sort of like always, I'm just going to focus on what I think is useful and good versus just looking at exactly everything. So let's get started. All right, well, let's start off number one with Common Doctor Strange. I think that this is a good beginning. And I sort of talked about the shifting focus Doctor Strange previously, and I on last show I'm sort of explaining why that he's valuable. And then when we start looking at number one, he can carry two friendly characters. He can carry up to two friendly characters or four friendly characters if they all have the Defenders keyword. And that's the key element, is that he can carry those characters into position. And normally I just think he's going to end up carrying two characters majority of the time. And then once he carries those two characters, then he's going to shift into something a little bit more useful for the following phase of the game. So 12 movement, so just getting your movement hindered by 2. I think that that's great when the new rules come along. If he's carrying 2, nothing's going to change. But if he's carrying 1, it's 11 movement. So that's a really far movement. Starts threatening the effectiveness of overdrive. So when we start looking at some other morphs of Doctor Strange, in particularly the rare, we can see like, wow, this guy is actually really good. So I would definitely say common number one Doctor Strange, definitely get. Next up is number 2 Daredevil. Now some of you might say, whoa, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Like, why would I get this? Well, the Marvel Knights the trait is pretty much the main reason why. When we're looking at a 50-point Marvel Knights or martial artist that could also wild card or have a minimum 10 attack. Now that part, I don't think it's so much useful on Daredevil. I mean, unless he's like throwing a tank or something. But I think just overall that when we start looking at the fact that he can be a wild card with ATAs going away, being able to pick up Avengers TA, being able to pick up Mystics, being able to use the Defenders TA, Scrolls TA. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the board that I think that people forget about the value of wild cards when it comes to just standard characters. And I think there's a lot of usefulness that can be out there. And even with just standard TAs, Avengers Initiative, Superman TA, Batman TA. Like, there's a lot of great TAs that Daredevil can pick up. And with the martial artist theme, it's real easy. I really do think that this character will show its own in Golden Age, the future of Golden Age, and for right now the limited downfall apocalypse of modern age with ATAs, because you can put him on a martial artist team and then have him wild card Legion of Superheroes, League of Assassins, or Hand ATA, and then all of a sudden he's really valuable. So I really do have to say that for a value proposition, Daredevil is not bad at 50 points. He's a 50-point wild card with an 11 attack and 3 damage. I mean, if push comes to shove, you can put him on a Sinister Syndicate team. So there's a lot of value there. Or, better yet, Batman enemy. All right. Let's keep going on. Number 3, Hulk. And I know some people already are like, Dark Logos, wow, you're really loving this set like McDonald's, man. And I know it seems that way. But having played with a good chunk of it, let me rephrase that, having played with some stuff of the set and having seen things get pulled, I'm a little bit better prepared personally for what's valuable in the set and what I do believe will actually be, solid game changers in the set. So, bear with me as I sort of, break this down just a bit. Okay, why this Hulk? He's 80 points. It might seem a little bit inflated, but the first thing to sort of point out is this Hulk is 7 clicks deep at 80 points. That's a lot of health, definitely under New Whiz Kid's design guide. Not only is he, 7 clicks, he also has damage reduction and pretty decent stats for majority of his dial. We see nothing lower than a 17, which is respectable when it comes to defense. Not only that, we're seeing damage no lower than 3. So overall, I really do see value in this. Definitely when you start comparing the fact that as an 18 defense, you can start chaining that 18 defense to other defenders, which is great. And then again, we come back from a wild card mechanic, is that you can wild card defenders, and now you can make other characters that have lower defenses have higher defenses. And he also has that full move sort of leap climb Quake thing that he can do, which some people really underestimate the fact that, yes, Quake has a lock damage value of 2, but it also has knockback capability. So you can use that to sort of break up formations, get rid of that, pesky, I was about to say Brainiac Skullship, but that's not correct. Bizarro Green Arrow, get him out the way, while also, doing some other stuff. But actually, you couldn't move Bizarro Green Arrow out of the way because he has invulnerability. So, like, let's just say just knocking, let's say some other types of attackers away from Bizarro Green Arrow. That's better. Yeah, there we go. Or just spreading out a formation a little bit. I think this Hulk is useful. Is he tier 1 meta? No. But I do think he's useful, and I think when the meta starts to readjust, I think an indomitable 10 attack super strength character is really good. Is it the best? No, but I do think it is good, and it might find its placement somewhere. I don't know where, though. Okay? Alright, so let's move on to Black Panther. And I know some of you will say, like, okay, we're in the commons, man. You skipped over Vision and Wasp. And I'm like, yes, I did. This 30-point Black Panther is by far one of the top, most meta figures that you're going to own in the next 2 years. Bar none. Bar none. This character right here has now made Avengers probably one of the top, if not the top keyword. Avengers, Wakanda, and Scientists. Not so much Wakanda. Scientist is good, but meh. Now, you might say, Dark Logos, what type of stuff you smoking, man? Did they handed you that meth and that Walter White came out and he's like, dude, I got blue meth for you. No. Okay. Here's what it is. Black Panther at 30 points is 4 clicks. He doesn't have damage reduction, and that's fine. He is able to get into position, outwit, take away a power, be in stealth, and be really, really protected. Because there's not a lot of anti-stealth going forward into the meta. Alright, so that's first of all. Second of all, he's a low investment cost. And I do mean low investment cost. I mean, he is like Infinity Challenge level point cost for what he can do. Alright. The third thing is that he can shift into a third tier attacker that is respectable. I outwit your defense. I hit you for 3 or whatever. Damn it, defense change. I'm going to shift Black Panther into charge Blaze Claw's Fangs, and hopefully I can finish you off. And that's it. The fact that, again, Black Panther comes in at 30 points and can be very safe, negate powers. And I know, again, it's a 6 range. It's a lot more dangerous than his previous incarnation back in Infinity Challenge. But that's really all you need right now. and then he's able to shift into being this damage dealer. Yeah, I'll take that. You can pay for 2, and it would still be a really good deal. So I really do have to say, like, this is a really good figure. And just sort of fast forwarding to number 18, Black Panther, which he can shifting focus into, is you see he has charge, 10 attack, 16 defense. He has blades. He has combat reflexes. But on his second click, he has 11 attack and blades and 2 damage. And then on his last 2 clicks, he has sidestep, 11 attack, and exploit weakness. This is a powerhouse attacker. For 30 points, it's completely undercosted. Alright, so definitely pick up the shifting focus Black Panther set. Alright, we're going to fast forward down, and we're going to go to number 9, Punisher. Rocket Launcher Punisher. I really don't care about the rest of them. The rest of them don't matter. And you're going to say, like, well, blah, 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 uses. Yes, you have those uses just in case, and you have the one that does blades and combat reflexes just in case he gets based. But really, 90% of the time, you're going to be using Rocket Launcher Frank Castle for 50 points. He's stupid. Just the rocket propelled grenade, everybody knows what it does. It is stupid. It is yellow power level stupid. It shouldn't exist. It's anti-formation when WizKids has spent a lot of time building up formation. And I understand, yes, it's good to have some counters and some risk to certain styles of play. So, like, being around, a BGA, they've introduced things to make Bizarro Green Arrow more of a risk. And I applaud WizKids about that. They introduced Hammer. At a super rare slot, they've introduced Punisher, coming around that same price point as Hammer. While Hammer has, I would say, a smaller range, Punisher has a higher range and can do potentially less damage than Hammer. Hammer can do whatever damage he's dealt to everybody around him, whereas Punisher is dealing 4 damage to the target and then 3 damage to everybody else around. So not significantly less damage, but just noticeable. But you do have a safer range in which you're utilizing Punisher, so that's a really good deal. And also you have, that 11 attack is slightly better than Hammer's, but I can't think of that off the top of my head, and I'll just grab my Hammer off here. Never mind, Hammer has 11 attack, so I take that back. I thought I bought 2 Hammers. I bought 2 of the Furnace Twins. I did buy 2 of them. Anyway, so you add in the Marvel Knights trait, and this just makes him stupider. Just stupider. Oh, wow, I can copy Avengers Initiative, so I can rocket launcher you into in that little bush over there. Okay, I can see you. Oh, I have Defenders. Hulk is chilling next to me, so I have an 18 defense. Oh, JSA, I'm sitting next to freaking KCGL. I have a 20. Oh, hey, guy, guess what? I'm over here with Super Scroll, so now I have the Scrolls TA. Good luck hitting me. Yeah, I could go on. So that's some stuff. Oh, hey, I hate villains, but I hang out with villains, so now I'm sharing my wonderful 11 attack with whatever villain group I deem worthy. This is dumb. So, overall, you could say, but what, Dark Logos, if you get based and you can't do it? Then yeah, you get based, you shift to freaking stab you with a knife Frank Castle. It's that simple. That's why this is a problem. This is dumb. This shouldn't exist. Not in shifting focus form, at least, because when you do shore up the weakness of it, there's nothing stopping your opponent from saying, whatever, now I'm going to shift into the melee guy. Alright, let's keep going. Number 10, Iron Man. Now, some of you might say, why this Iron Man when we have better Iron Mans and eventually Iron Heart? But the main reason I like this Iron Man is number one, he has Avengers TA. Number two, he's 55 points, and I know he's not in that wonderful 50-point range, but he's 55 points. He has decent stats: 10 attack, 3 damage, 17 defense, 6 range. I know it's not great, but that's the new average. And then we're also looking at a 10 movement, so 5 with a running shot. The fact that he has a system reboot, which it says once per game, Iron Man can use regeneration, but only subtracts 1 from his result, is really good considering that he is only, 5 clicks deep. So he can get right back to the top if he gets lucky. So I do like that. And again, it's a once per game effect. And it allows a 55-point character to just sort of stay in there a little bit longer. So I think that that's something to be, of note about. It's not a stop click, but it is something that's really nice. If you get on click 3, get on click 4, you can just pop that down and just be like, bam, all right, let's get back to the top to run the shot. All right, next up is Captain America, right behind Iron Man, number 11. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up is that you have to make a choice, and there's also a wallet choice, between this Captain America or the con-exclusive Captain America. Now, the special power for this Captain America is Respected Leader. Captain America uses leadership, but succeeds on the 4 through 6, which is really good because, that increases your odds of removing a token in the future under the new rules. So that's something to really think about. When he does, on a result of 6, you may also remove an action token from each friendly character with the Avengers keyword within range. Now, right now, this Captain America has the ability to take tokens off of higher point characters. In the future, he can still take tokens off of higher point characters, not just one adjacent higher point character. I do like the fact that technically this Captain America can functionally reset the board. All right, and I think that is a extreme advantage. Now, I know this is a 1 in 6 odd of doing that, and your friendly characters need to be rather close. But I do think that just being able to having that role and then being able to take 3 or 4 tokens off would be really good. Now, the question I wonder is that does this stack? Because there's nothing in here that says if you haven't already used this ability or whatever. So if you hit 2 Captain Americas and they both roll a 6, could you reset the table? And I think that's a good question. I think most likely the answer is yes, but I think more than likely they're probably going to errata that to say one of these per turn can go off with that 6 effect. All right. Let's go ahead and skip down to number 17, Elektra. And I like her just overall because she's a melee piece. She's 50 points. She has that Marvel Knights ATA. She can shift into other characters. And she has trait of sidestep and stealth. And she has combat reflexes and exploit weakness. And like I said before, going into this new meta, we don't have as much when it comes to anti-stealth. And so for her to just have trait of stealth means that you don't have to pair her up with Batman or something like that so that she can wild card off of that. You could focus on having a minimum attack of 10. So that is a thing, just in case you deal with other game effects. So you do have a little bit of flexibility with that. Overall, for 10 attack, with 11 attack and 3 damage exploit, I think she has the potential to do a lot as a secondary or third tier attacker. Now, would I say base your entire game on her landing all of her hits? Not so much, but I would say, she doesn't have willpower. She does have improved movement, ignores elevated, ignores hindering, so she can sort of sashay around with the sidestep. And having played with her, she's a lot more of a threat than people actually understand. So I'm a fan of her, and I'm going to endorse her. All right, let's fast forward to now we're in the uncommon section, and which is sort of funny because this is the first time in a while that I've really endorsed a lot of commons. Deadpool, I really was hating on Deadpool. I didn't like that set too much, but this is actually the first time in a while I actually liked most of the commons, or a good chunk of commons. So let's fast forward to number 23, Wasp. And some of you might be saying, well, why do I like the uncommon Wasp and I don't like the in-cap Wasp? Well, let's look at her. She has the special power Natural Leader. Wasp can use leadership as if she was 100 points. That's important for right now. In the future, that really doesn't matter as much. When she does and succeeds, adds 2 action tokens to your action total instead of 1. Now, for those who are unaware about the leadership changes in the future, leadership will just give you a flat +1 action. But this character has the potential, if you roll leadership and you are successful, to give you +2 actions. So going forward, she will be a key element for swarm teams, and I would actually say a mandatory character for swarm teams. I know some people would say that's lame. Why would you say that, Dark Logos? One of the main problem with swarm is that in a 300 points setup with leadership, you only have 4 actions, and that's sort of okay, which means that you have to load up on a lot of characters and a lot of pogs that say like, hey, these actions don't count against your action pool. And while that's fine, if you're able to increase your actions to 5 and have characters that say like, hey, these actions don't count against your action pool, or you have other wild cards that need to move, you can copy the Avengers team ability. So right there is an advantage for free move. And then, as you're taking these tokens off these other characters, this allows them to attack again. So you need to be compensating for these additional actions that are going on. So overall, I think this number 23 Wasp is a game changer for the new rules in particular. Sort of right now, okay-ish. She's a cheap leadership. She's not the mega leadership as the con exclusive Captain America, and that's why I can't fully be like, yeah, down for the cause for her. But I do think that she is a game changer just with the leadership alone. The sidestep, the energy shield deflection, and being tiny means from range. She could just sit out in the open and be a 21 if no one counters her energy shield deflection. So that's something that's important too. Again, not a offensive juggernaut, but is a really, really, really good support going into the future, and I think she's a great investment. Alright, let's go ahead down to Karen Page. Now, the main reason I like Karen Page is that Karen Page is a sidestep perplex once you push her, or activate her with Frogman. That is it. The little special power is sort of neat if you need to buff multiple characters. Okay, and let's just go over that real quick. Her special power, Karen Page, can use sidestep. Unique if she's within 3 squares of an opposing character. All friendly characters modify their attack values by +1. Now, this can be a huge steroid. Huge steroid. Now, there's nothing saying about line of fire or anything like that. So, Karen Page can be behind a wall for all her effect cares. Or several walls, for that matter. Okay? But it's just as long as she's within 3 squares of an opponent. Now, the idea is that she's constantly getting in trouble, into danger, but she's able to buff your team. Now, the thing I like about Karen Page is this. You can fling Karen Page out, just be like, YOLO, son, don't care. Within 3 of an opponent. Now, your entire team has +3 attack to attack every other character, but that character that's around Karen, +1 attack to attack all the other characters except the one around Karen Page, and just wipe some fools out. I think that combined with some other game effects, could catch some people by surprise. I really do. At the other end of it, I think if you're not able to capitalize on that, or you feel you're not able to capitalize on that, just go ahead, push her, get the perplex, and be done. She's not the cheapest perplex in the game. I know you can get Vicky Vale, but Vicky Vale doesn't sidestep around and sashay, the way that you want. Not Vicky Vale, Betty Brant. Sorry guys, Betty Brant. So it's 11 o'clock and it's past my bedtime for the weekday or going into the week. Next up is Ben Urich, and I hope I said his name right. I like this guy. He's 3 clicks. He's 10 points. And if you're able to get this off, this is a game changer for dealing with those Jakeems out there. And it's the world needs to know that you're the one behind all this. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose an opposing character within 4 squares and line of fire. Until your next turn, that character cannot use Mastermind or Shape Change. So this is really, really great. So a lot of free action Jean Grey TKs going off to get Ben Urich to shut down that Shape Change and Mastermind. But it tis what it is, son. Tis what it is. Oh gosh. Alright, let's go to number 37, Black Widow. And I know I'm skipping over a lot of characters, but it's just mainly that most of them aren't that good. You can argue for number 34, Elektra, or even Kirigi, but I'm really not a fan. Well, Kirigi sorta, but Kirigi doesn't start with move and attack, so yeah, I really can't be down with Kirigi. Number 35, Doctor Strange, just a really quick note. I'm bundling him in that whole Doctor Strange shifting focus analysis. Okay? His support elements are really good. Definitely improve targeting, ignores characters. So just bundle him back with Doctor Strange. Alright. Let's keep going. Number 37, Black Widow. Now, why are we looking at number 37, Black Widow? Again, 50 points, Marvel Knights TA, Marvel Knights, Marvel Knights trait, which is, we've already established, is really strong. She unfortunately doesn't have a team affiliation with this, and she only has Marvel Knights and Spy, which is a bit sad, but understandable considering the run that this is coming from. Charge and cap and willpower. And I think that this is a big deal. Charge, limit attack, 3 damage. 5 clicks. And she has traded stealth. I like this, and I like this for a couple of key reasons. Number one, it's a low investment spy. Okay, number two is that when we're looking at the end cap, I know some of you would say, like, hey, look, she has other versions that are running shot end cap and whatever. It's like, yeah, they're running shot end cap and crap damage. This way you can charge end cap if you need to, or just sit in stealth and like snipe people, or charge and attack people for 3 damage. Like, there's a lot of better utility from this figure than the other Black Widow figures. In the long term, I think she's going to be a lot more useful. Do I still think this is a waste of a character slot that should have been for someone else, and they're, just milking the Marvel license just a bit? Oh yeah, I agree. I fully agree that the character selection is utter crap when it comes to this, and they padded the entire thing with shifting focus when they really didn't need to, and they did sort of a crappy job with shifting focus, and they could have just, turned the dial and put more characters on the dial. Other dials on the dial, and so you would have been a shift between A dial and B dial instead of the bullcrap that they pulled here. So, with my, minor critique of being frustrated, let's sort of move on. Next up is Jessica Jones, and Jessica Jones, I believe, is the probably the 3rd to the 4th most powerful figure in this entire set. And I'm not blowing smoke when I say that. And I know some of you would say, like, Dark Logos, again, you're on that stuff, man. What's going on? Why is Jessica Jones possibly the third or fourth most powerful figure in the set? And you've already told us, about, all these other cool figures in Doctor Strange, and you haven't even got to the chases. Pure and simple, going into Origins, her Marvel Knights trait with the second trait, they always leave clues. Opposing characters with a 6 squares cannot use stealth. Now, here's why this is a big deal. She's 15 points, number one. Number two, she has the Avengers keyword. That is a very, very powerful keyword. Number three, once I factor in the element that screw her attack thing, because technically she gets a free steroid, but she's never attacking, okay? Because she doesn't get a 10 attack. And that's technically a free bump. So you can look at that if you want to, but I don't think it's a good idea. Okay. The fact is this: every character that has allowed other characters to see through stealth or shut down stealth have been A, more expensive, or B, required you to activate a mechanic in which that character could at least draw a line of fire to that square, i.e. Alan Scott, Green Lantern from Joker's Wild, or you needed to have a character adjacent to you, and that character sort of anti-stealth had to be within 6 squares, i.e. Ace the Bad Hound, Caliban. Jessica Jones comes in and undercuts them all. Now, I mean, you can argue Caliban is crap. He just is. You could argue Ace the Bad Hound still has all his uses at 50 points, and that you're not going to find another 35 points of value just as good as Ace the Bad Hound. Fully agree. You can argue that coming in at 35 points, that you couldn't find another 20 points that can compensate for the offensive and defensive ability of Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern. Fully agree. But if you don't have the freaking points and you're going full offensive, and you know that every Jakeem inside of Origins is going to have stealth and have willpower due to the freaking supreme intelligence, there is no excuse. This destabilizes the Jakeem meta and really destabilizes I need willpower and getting stealth meta from Origins. It really does. Because all she has to do is be within 6 squares and that character cannot use stealth. Not that you get improved targeting or hindering or anything like that, or you get to ignore your opponent's character stealth. They cannot use stealth. Okay? If you were still high on loving that last bit of that one ATA, Midnight Suns, I'm sorry, man. That party got prematurely ended. Okay, Jessica Jones, bravo. And then here's the other element. Remember, she still is a wild card if you so choose. The flexibility between the 10 attack and the flexibility between the wild card element, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And for those people that have had the luxury of the Chinese buffet of ATAs and now have to go back to the school lunch of standard TAs, I understand your pain. Okay? That Chinese buffet was good. There was sushi and imported fish from freaking Asia. There was Kobe steak from Japan. You know, they did it right. They had the freaking volcano onions and stuff. It was delicious. But, you know, that day is over. We're back to freaking, you know, chili mac and a biscuit and a little carton of milk, man. That's what your TAs. You're dealing with standard TAs now. And God forbid you have lactose intolerance, dude. Okay, but Jessica Jones, she she causes a problem because now she destabilizes all of that stealth stuff that we talked about. Remember what I said? There's not a lot of improved targeting, North hindering, and there's not a lot of anti-stealth, TAs floating around. But Jessica Jones sets you up for one shot and one shot only. And she doesn't even have to have line of fire. That is huge. Alright, so overall, like I said, if anything, make sure you get that Jessica Jones. Just make sure you get it. You gotta get it. All right, let's keep going down. On tune of Jessica Jones, there's Purple Man. Now, why Purple Man? I went back and forth on Purple Man, but after playing Purple Man in Sealed, I see the advantages of Purple Man, and I also realize how he can be a game changer. The problem that I have right now is I don't know how he's going to be a game changer in the immediate future. In the long term, when you start going into outwit, taking away, all sorts of various different powers, then I definitely see Purple Man being not necessarily the new, whatchamacallit. I don't see him being the new Brother Voodoo. I do see him sort of coming in and surprising people. I also believe like Looker would have the potential to come back and surprise people because an 11 attack mind control with outsiders is stupid. But that's, who am I? I'm just some dude on the internet. But here we go. Purple Man. It's Zebediah Kilgrave, and I have to keep that one to myself. So he has once a victim, always mind control. Purple Man considers opposing characters with pheromone tokens to be adjacent and have a 0-point value for mastermind purposes. And this is important once you get to his make you do whatever I want. Purple Man can use mind control. When he does, modify his attack value by +3. So those 9s turn into, you get it 12s. It turns into 12s. He doesn't take feedback damage from using it, and hit characters are given a pheromone token. There's no limit to the amount of pheromone tokens you can put on a character. Just letting you know. Surrounded by willing victims, Purple Man can use my Mastermind. When he does, he may remove a pheromone token from an opposing character to transfer damage to that character. Now, this is the part that becomes stupid, because people will forget that they have pheromone tokens if you mind control certain characters. So you can mind control a main attacker, and with 2 targets, if you're lucky, you're able to mind control the secondary attacker. Once you mind control them, you put a pheromone token on, and then when the main attacker goes in, you can just be saying like, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. Yeah, that's why he's stupid. And with Minions of Doom, he can wild card to whatever the heck he wants. And with the current until new rules and retirement, you can also stack a Thunderbolts on top of him being a wild card, which really is stupid strong. Stupid strong. If you played a Thunderbolts theme team or a Spy theme team in which you can get the Thunderbolts ATA plus Minions of Doom to wild card whatever other crap you want, it's strong. It's beyond respectable. So when you pack that all in for 70 points, again we go back to Defenders. It's like, oh man, his defense is so bad, Dark Logos. I'm like, he wild cards to Defenders, and now he has a 17, or sorry, not 17. Now he has an 18. You can go with Golden Age and be like, now he has a 20 or whatever. If you look too short-sighted on most of these figures, you're going to overlook like how they actually like save themselves. Like the wild card nature is stupid strong, and I think that anybody that's overlooking, hey, that's a wild card. Hey, I have a Defenders. Hey, I have Avengers Initiative. Hey, I have Batman. Hey, I have Scrolls. You know, hey, I have Fantastic Four. Hey, I have, you know, just, you know, Suicide Squad. Like, all of this stuff starts to matter a lot more. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going. Next up on the list is Froggy Nelson. And Froggy Nelson was supposed to be... Yeah, Froggy Nelson. Here we go. Froggy Nelson is here. He's 15 points. He has a Marvel Knights keyword, which you would think he would have something else, but no. He's 2 clicks, and you might say, like, Dark Logos, what is this guy really worth? And it's the trust me, I'm a lawyer, and this is the part that's really, really interesting. At the beginning of your turn, choose a friendly character at 150 points or less until your next turn. As long as the chosen character is adjacent to Foggy Nelson, they cannot have their powers countered, so they can't be outwitted or negated. Well, they can have the can't use, but they can't have them countered. Or their combat values decreased by opposing game effects, which, if I am correct, means that if you have Energy Shield in play, you would still have Energy Shield if Froggy is next to you. Okay? So if you do have like a +1 from, like, let's just say Penguin or whatever, the +1 attack, +1 range, you would still have that. Now, here's the thing that I really want to know is, like, when timing comes in, does Nighthawk Prime sort of just X that, or does Deadpool just X that? Deadpool is really more, I would say, is like saying, well, you couldn't modify your stats. But then is the modification something separate? And then once it's increased to that point, is it automatically increased? Is that binary or not? Does that have to be activated from an attack? So let's just say, for example, if I have combat reflexes, do I have a +2 defense to close combat just at all times, or only if I'm attacked? So Froggy Nelson is interesting. He has some potential. But also, like, there's no reason not to pass, you know, Pack 2, because he's not unique. And I'm just looking here, and there's nothing that indicates that he's unique in the little section here in the listing. So that's what I'm making that conclusion off of. So there's a lot, definitely saying, you know, future-scaping out of this set so far. That's just huge. You know, for developing, you know, how we're going to play in the future. Alright, so keep going forward. Next up is the title character, Doctor Strange. So I know some of you might be saying, like, wow, you skipped over a bunch of rares. I'm like, yup, because they suck. Even Batrock, and I know I'll get some hate on that. Like, they'll be like, Dark Logos, all the attacks I can do with Batrock for my crappy printed 2 damage. Anyway, so let's go ahead and look at Batrock. I mean, not Batrock, Doctor Strange Earth Guardian. Now, the Doctor Strange Earth Guardian, just from a stat perspective, is really good. Sidestep, he has Psychic Blast, Energy Shield Deflection, he flies, he has Prob, 7 range Mystics team ability. Right there, you know, just that opening click for that point value, I would pay that. That's a really good opening click. That's a really good secondary attacker. Not so much the best in terms of taxi, but yeah, whatever, you know. Then you get some charged blades, combat reflexes. Not too much of a fan of that. But then we go to the last 2 clicks. We get phasing, blades, willpower, outwit. So I like that. There's some stuff that's really nice. When we look at the title character, it's the standard title character block text, which to me, it's like, yo, man, you're talking about simplifying the game, and then you make title characters. You know, I don't think that's a good idea. Your starting plot points is a little bit low in compared to Deadpool. You're starting with 2 plot points, but that's fine. That's fine, because I feel like if you started with 3 plot points, automatically going to Sorcerer Supreme would be a problem. So when we add 1 plot point with the Black Open Book, every scrap of hidden sorcery, modified Doctor Strange, Earth, Guardian, or an adjacent friendly character's damage value by +1 this turn. This is really nice because it's just a flat damage increase. All right, this would allow Doctor Strange to be an 11-4 up front, or allow another character to increase their damage by 1. So it can be considered sort of like, you know, a mini Henry. Okay. Then you have the Last Days of Magic. Adjacent friendly characters can use Mystic's team ability until your next turn. For all of you that love playing ants, rejoice for, you know, the Last Days of Magic. You also are -1 plot point. Okay, so you're modifying your damage output to increase your plot points. But if you just want to say like, yo, homie, go ahead and hit me and take that Mystic's damage. Go ahead and energy explode me and take 5 Mystic's damage because of all these pogs around me. Then yeah, I think that it's something to consider. It also encourages from out the bat not to just go like, yo, my entire team has Mystics. Yeah, my entire team has Mystics, Krang. Come at me, bro. You know, eat 4 Mystics damage. Yeah. Then you have -4 plot points. You have Sorcerer Supreme for the rest of the game. As long as Doctor Strange Earth Guardian is on the map, you may reroll an attack. You may reroll an attack roll each turn. So it's not prob. Okay, it can be stacked on top of prob. And this is the part that I like, because if you early on sort of notice that you really don't have a need for Mystics, or there's a character on the field that just straight up ignores Mystics, you have every incentive to build towards Sorcerer Supreme and then use your standard prob, or if you get not past your standard prob but you're still alive, to go ahead and just say like, look, I need some sort of reroll, so I'm going to activate or build towards Sorcerer Supreme. So I really like that, and I really do think that it's a really good, strong character. Now the part I don't like is, yeah, if he's KO'd, you deal 2 unavoidable damage to the friendly characters occupying the square closest to Doctor Strange. It's a little bit more mild than the penalty from Deadpool. Okay. In Deadpool Merc with the Mouth, I apologize. Deadpool Merc with the Mouth affects your entire team, and I sort of feel, I understand the 2 damage. That could be an issue. I fully understand. If you did that to like 3 or 4 characters, how crippling that could be. But that, to me, is part of the risk. If you even just said like 1 unavoidable damage to your entire team, I would have been fine with that, because that doesn't affect tempo as much, and it would make you be a little bit more careful with him. You know, maybe even put an entity on him, you know, making him solidify that secondary attacker role, you know, just so he can get some damage reduction. So I like it. I mean, in particular, like if you just look at him, he works really well with the Brainiac entity, like just really well, from my opinion. I would not put Proteus on him. There's a temptation, I understand, it was just like, oh, Proteus, those are some bonkers numbers there, but no, I wouldn't put Proteus on him. All right, next up to look at is Claw. Actually, I'm gonna have a brief addendum for Iron Man. If Iron Man flew, this would probably be a game-changing Iron Man. But because Iron Man doesn't fly for whatever reason, I don't even know what was going on. Did they take that cover where you see Iron Man running and assuming he can't fly or something? I don't know. I guess this is what happens when you don't do research. I guess. Like, I would figure that, like, WizKids would have, like, a subscription to, like, Marvel Online, plus, like, have somebody that they can just go, like, look at comics with, or freaking Marvel gives them, like, resource material or something. Yeah, I would figure. But, you know, not just assuming they're just picking stuff off of Wikipedia. Anyway, so, real quick about Iron Man. Stats, great. All the way through, whether it's 165 or 125. It's just great stats. I would pay for both versions. Keywords are great. No team ability sort of sucks. The fact that you have 4 clicks of free action, you're able to pick 2, standard powers. Until your next turn, you can use those chosen powers, but can't use the possessed standard speed, attack, or damage powers. That's fine. That allows you to completely adapt to the situation. Oh, I don't need hypersonic speed, shape change, and impervious. Okay, cool. Give me run shot pulse wave. Just screw it. Give me run shot pulse wave. I have an entity on me. I'll pick impervious from that. Give me run shot pulse wave. Give me charge flurry. Give me that stuff. Or hell, you could just be like, hey, I'm going to pick, outwit perplex. That's something that Jakeem can't do. Like at 125 points, and you're just like, yeah, whatever, outwit perplex, or outwit prob, and just play that game really well. There's a ton of great things I see that would have been really possible with this Iron Man, but unfortunately the dude can't fly, so it sets him back. And definitely at 165 points, he's already price pointed out. So I really like use my armor to imprison you. If it wasn't for the fact I can't guarantee I'm going to get on it. I'll get on that power. And like in particular, you can use this. You could use this in a situation where you've limited your opponent to one attacker. And you could just be like, yeah, this just happens. Until your next turn, that character can't move or make a ranged attack, and Iron Man can't use invulnerability. The game's over. Like, that's why I like it so much, but it can't fly is suck. It has all the elements for a very good attacker, but that flight thing is sort of what kills it. But I think that just the fact that Jakeem exists, a lot of people are going to overlook this character. But I went on a character that I really didn't want to focus on a little too long. So let's go ahead and look at Claw. And yes, I'm skipping over Captain America and all that stuff. And I know you'd be like, what, Captain America? Yeah, like, he's good. He's good. But there's not too much to unpack there. And anyway, I'm just gonna say he's good. And I'll leave it at that. Alright, so let's just go ahead and go to Claw. Now, Claw, truth be told, is a moderate piece that will probably not get a lot of meta play, maybe get a lot of local play, mainly because folks will not really see his true potential. But I see a lot of good stuff out of Claw. First off, you have the Hard Light Focus Vibranium Conduit. Give Claw a free action and choose a standard attack power. Claw can use that power this turn. So he has a pick a power. So he can pick attack power, so that's the first advantage. He comes in at a lean 110 points. Okay, he's in that little nice bubble range of 100 to 140 points. Okay, he has 6 clicks of damage, 6 clicks of health. He starts with 10 attack and 4 damage and 18 defense and an 8 movement. He has the special movement power for his first 3 clicks, Sound Travels. Claw can use Sidestep, and improved movement ignores hindering, ignores blocking, ignores characters. So he can bust through walls like the Kool-Aid Man, and there's really nothing you can do to stop him. When he uses Sidestep, you may roll a d6, and he may move up to the result instead of 2. So you have the option to have him, move out potentially 4, 5, or 6 squares. This substitutes as a running shot, I know. And this is the part where I look at it is, realistically, if you are able to add any other move and attack on him, he all of a sudden becomes very strong just due to his mobility. Alright, now I'm just saying that potentially in the future and something to look out for. Then you have Can't Hurt What's Made of Sound. Claw can use super senses. If Claw takes more than 2 damage, he takes 2 damage instead. So this right here just allows you to just take some hits. And you can't be one-shotted. And it takes you back to the special power again. Then you get hit, and then you're on regen, and then you regen back to the special power. So, the only real weak points is where you have, oh gosh, Invincible. But when Invincible gets reworked, and the max damage, you could take is I think it's 5 or something. But on average, you're going to be taking at max 3. You're back on regen. I look at Ulysses Claw as the character that's eventually going to force a double tap to kill him for a very low investment. So I really like what he has here. There's just a ton of stuff. Now I know some of you from an entity perspective are going to be like, I can do this, I can do that, add shape change. Yeah, you could. But I would also sort of say is he's probably a lot more survivable and almost more useful than Swarm. And Swarm is really good. And I just really want to point out, just look. He has improved movement, ignores hindering walls or blocking and characters. He can Kool-Aid Man, he could just standard Kool-Aid Man through walls. So, I'm just saying, it's not bad. Next up is Dormammu and Loki. Now, for the price point at $220, majority of people would say this is a complete waste of time. But from a future standpoint, $150 is legitimate, but $220 is also legitimate. And I really do believe that there is a lot here that could be used for particular advantages. I think this was Supreme Intelligence. Definitely on first click allows you that sidestep that you really need to just get around. And it also, you can use it to sort of count down, and you can get other support powers that you need, like Outwit or Perplex. And if you're later down the dial, you can come back to Prob if you really need to. But yeah, I would more focus on having Perplex. The thing I like is the meld the dark dimension with yours. When you give Dormammu and Loki a free action and remove an object within 8 squares from the game and place a -1 bystander token in that square. Now I wonder how this works with characters that have picked up objects. Would the bystander just be adjacent? And would you be able to control that? Now that's a legit question for WizKids, because it doesn't say a unoccupied object or an object that's not picked up. It just says straight up an object. So yeah, and now the other question is, if objects are picked up, are they off the map and on the character card? I don't know. Once per turn, when an opposing character is replaced, brought onto the map from an opponent's sideline, or one or more opposing bystanders are brought into the game after the beginning of the game. After the actions resolve, you may place a -1 bystander adjacent to Dormammu. So pretty much he said, hey, screw you and your ID cards, screw you in your, shifting focus, screw you and your pog tech. You got advantages, I get advantages. Every time you do that, I'm going to get a -1. And I think that is a very strong punishment. That is a very strong punishment. And I know most people would not look at it that way, but the main reason it's a very strong punishment is that all of a sudden I'm able to spam the field with a bunch of 0-point guys that have moderate attacks and penetrating damage. And if I start landing attacks, then yes, I'm plinking away at you, but at a 220 point cost, there really isn't much else I can sort of add in. And so I can just focus on supporting these little dudes to make them do stupid things they shouldn't do. Or have a round table. And then just summon big guys on top of you and then tie you up with -1s. So if you assume in an average game that there are going to be 6 objects on a field, and you have to pick an object within 8 squares to turn to a -1. If majority of the objects are near midfield, that means during mid-game, most likely, you're going to have -1 spawned on you. And that's what happened to me. I laughed at it at first. I'm like, this is a joke. This is utter trash. This is a joke. I'm just going to plow through this. No, it's not a joke. It's a legit threat. And when you look at my mindless minions, when another friendly character of 25 points or more is KO'd after action resolve, you may place a -1 bystander token in their square. That includes call-ins. That includes call-ins. Okay? So, if one of your call-ins dies, you can bring in a -1. Now, I do also like the fact that you can't abuse the whole reality and just be like, oh yeah, I have pogs and they die and I'm bringing -1s. No, it doesn't work like that. Or the circular, like a -1 died, so another -1 comes in. I'm glad that doesn't work like that. But when you start looking at the swarming of the field, all of a sudden a low point, 40 point penguin looks really, really powerful. Because you have -1s plus the penguin pogs with pulse wave, plus Dormammu Loki shooting and doing stupid levels of damage. It's not a bad deal. It really isn't. And then you add in a teleporter and 5 ID cards or something along those lines, and you have a very offensive situation and a very tanky, harder to kill Dormammu. And then all of a sudden, Edward Shelton built somebody's Super Q winning team when the new rules hit. Anyway, you also have power struggle at the end, but by the time you get to that, you're sort of screwed anyway. So yeah. All right, let's keep going. Next up is Moon Knight. Moon Knight. I like Moon Knight because of the Protector of the Night Travelers. Once per turn, if another friendly character is damaged from an attack, after action resolve, remove an action token from Moon Knight. So that's the huge part. Is that you know, hey, you hurt one of my guys. Boom, I take a token off. When a friendly character is KO'd from an attack after action resolve, you may place Moon Knight in a square that character occupied. Wow, you killed one of my pogs. Now I'm going to teleport Moon Knight up here. You know, now Moon Knight's here. Oh, crap. Anyway, he has Moon Darts. Moon Knight can use Charge and Running Shot, which gives him a lot of flexibility, but he also has 4 range. Then you have My Life, courtesy of Konashu. He has a stop click. Moon Knight can use Regeneration and Vulnerability. And this is the part that's nice, is that because he is able to, you know, just like say, hey, I'm going to use Regen this turn. Regen back up. Let's just say he goes up to, you know, click 5. Let's just say he goes to click 5. All right, cool. You have to deal with that stop click again. So you have to double tap him to actually kill him. And then the other element that I really like is that, hey, if you know, did damage to any of his friendlies, he can choose to, you know, remove that token that he just put on. Or if you KO'd the friendly, you would still be able to use the removal of the token, and you're also able to do the plays. Oh, shoot, you killed my pog way the heck back here. Well, let me, and that attacker's pushed. Let me go teleport over there. So I really do like this. I think this is a beneficial character for the meta, not just for the ID card, but overall for the meta. I think that this can be really strong. Next up is Ant-Man, and the main reason I like Ant-Man is just weird combos. He follows around your opponent. Ant-Man Security Solutions. Ant-Man can use Sidestep and Stealth. When an adjacent opposing character is moved or placed, you may place Ant-Man adjacent to that character after action resolves. So one thing I really look at is if you find a way of giving him poison, I think that he would be really good. And then you just combine that with Subatomic Subterfuge. Ant-Man can use Perplex. When he does, if he targets an opposing character, that character can't target Ant-Man until your next turn, unless it's the only character on its force. So just being able to follow a character around, if you're able to find a way to give that character poison, that would be, Ant-Man poison, that would be great. And then you just perplex the target and you say, well, you know, you can't target me. And then again, I really do like this if and only if you can get him poison. And I think that would just add to his value. It would make him stupid strong. But other than that, it might be something as like his time has not yet come. You know, so there's that too. There's another thing that I really wonder is what would happen if you had other characters named Ant-Man on your force? Would then that character can't target any character named Ant-Man, or just specifically this Ant-Man? Because it doesn't say number 63 Ant-Man. Alright, I'm going to bunch Ghost Rider, Valkyrie, Moon Knight all into one category and just say they run over people and attack them. Ghost Rider is by far the best one at 100 points. I would argue that Black Knight comes at number 2 and Valkyrie at a close number 3. And the only reason why Black Knight beats out Valkyrie is because Blaze can be really inconsistent. And I understand you have a 2 out of 3 chance of at least doing 1 damage to your opponent, 1 or more damage to your opponent. But that 1 in 3, you know, that 1 in 3 chance I don't like. If you roll a 1 or 2, I really don't like that. Overall, all these characters are really good. If you're looking at weirder combos, like delivery methods and stuff, you're definitely looking at Valkyrie and Black Knight. If you're just looking at raw beast mode, I'm telling you, this Origins and next Origins, it's going to be a problem because of Ghost Rider. Like, Ghost Rider, mark my words, is going to be a $50 figure. Valkyrie and Black Knight are at least going to be a minimum 30. Valkyrie might actually be 40 because she starts off with an 11 attack. But in particular, Ghost Rider. And you might be saying Ghost Rider. Why Ghost Rider over all of them? Marvel Knights TA. Marvel Knights trait. The Marvel Knights trait is the game changer. The fact that he has a minimal 10 attack, the fact that works out with what he does, the fact that he can be a wild card, that is huge, really huge. Now, he's a grounded character and he's not a transporter now, remember that. But the fact that he can carry a tiny can be a really big deal on how much damage he can deal. I mean, and from not damage he can deal, how much use he can get in various different ways. Then you have Vengeance Will Not Be Denied, which is pretty much, he can use Sidestep. Okay. Then you give him a power action to move up to a speed value in a direct path after actions resolve. After actions resolve, choose 3 damage or 2 penetrating damage, then make a close combat attack targeting all characters he moved through. Hit characters are dealt the chosen damage instead of normal damage, and placed into a square that Ghost Rider did not move through adjacent to their current square. So you got him, freaking Killgrave or Killabrew, and you got Stupidness. Him and Killabrew. Stupidness. Perplex up the attack, or have freaking Penguin or something, and it's done. Because I don't think this doesn't say locked. This does not say locked damage. So you can increase the damage dealt and other stuff like that. So no, this is dumb. This is dumb. And some people will say, like, well, then Dark Logos, then why don't I just run him at 50? Because he'll die. You run him at 75, he might not die as fast. 100 points, I can see that. Freaking 3 at 75, I can see that too. Okay, that's just too much to deal with. 3 at 75, and then some, mystic, like, hell, you got Clarion, the Witch Boy or something, and you're a mystical theme team, and whatever. I don't care. This is dumb. This shouldn't exist. Someone's going to find a way, like Jurassic Park, and bring back the dinosaurs, and now we have to worry about pterodactyls and stuff landing in our yards and picking up small children and our pets from outside. Yeah. This is dumb. Alright. We're going to go into the chases, and pretty much all the chases are good, and I apologize for the show being a little bit longer than normal. I'm just trying to get it all done. I didn't really want to do a 2-parter this time. I just want to try to get it all in one episode, and even my voice is starting to get a little weak here. Anyway, let's sort of start looking at it. I know some of you might be saying, like, the chases are intermittent, but I really do think all the chases are game changers in and of their own right. So let's sort of get into that. First off, Hawkeye. He has rapid fire trick shooting. He can use running shot each time Hawkeye hits an opposing character with a ranged attack. After actions resolve, he can use running shot again as a free action, but only target a character that wasn't attacked this turn. You start adding the Doctor Strange that is able to get Hawkeye into position, the standard shifting focus Doctor Strange. You add in Doctor Strange Earth Guardian that's able to increase his attack. That way, you add in Henry. You have so many different elements that you're able to buff Hawkeye's attack. I mean, his damage, sorry. I apologize. His damage. His damage is very easy to manipulate. And because it's easy to manipulate, 2 damage is really not that bad from a starting point. And yes, you're going to be dealing with damage depletion modifier, but once the new rules come out, you won't be. Just straight up, you won't be. And so when you're looking at 1 perplex on damage, or even 2 perplexes on damage, or an enhancement here or there, it's real easy to set up and not necessarily make Hawkeye the star of the show, but really make your opponent regret not taking out Hawkeye. He's 6 clicks deep, which means that your opponent has to dedicate at least 2 attacks into him. Okay, either that or have a really strong object attack. And that's fine. He's 65 points. So if your opponent dedicates early pressure on the Hawkeye, your main attacker or main other attackers should be able to compensate. But this overall, this character here allows you to like start taking out support, start plinking down major threats, and set up a easier field. And I really do mean that when I say that. Setting up an easier field for your main attacker. So there's that. Alright, next up is Daredevil. I know a lot of people have talked about Daredevil. I know some people have said, well, Daredevil is bad because you're able to summon in hand ninjas, and the hand ninjas can die, and you can lose points, and all this other stuff. And I understand that is a huge problem. But when we start looking at these hand ninjas, are they super wonderful? 9 attack, 2 damage. If a hand ninja occupies center terrain, it can use Empower. So you can technically possibly boost their damage up to 5 on their first click. They're 10 points each with stealth and a 9 attack. Alright, so when we start looking at how Daredevil works, if you have enough hand ninjas, there it is. Daredevil can use stealth once per turn. Give Daredevil a power action to place a hand ninja from outside the game in a square of hindering terrain within range and line of fire. So it's within 4. It's 4 squares, and he has to be able to see it. Now, it doesn't have to be printed hindering terrain, so you can lay out Smoke Cloud. If a friendly character with the hand keyword was Chaos at your last turn, this is a free action instead. So if you lose a minion, you can pop out a minion for free. Alright. Demonic Appetite for Pain. Daredevil can use Precision Strike. When Daredevil hits an opposing character, modify the attack values of all friendly characters with the hand keyword by +1 this turn. If the opposing character is KO'd, also modify the damage value by +1. So now you can get your hand ninjas up to a 10 attack if you're able to land your hit. Once you're on click 3, though, and that's part of the problem. You're on click 3. Then when you look at Mystical Senses, Daredevil can use Super Senses when he does and succeeds after actions resolve. Deal the attacker 1 unavoidable damage. So either way, if you hit Daredevil, you're taking Mystics. If you miss Daredevil, you're going to take, this Mystic Sense. So it punishes you for attacking him and really forces your opponent to try to all in and one-shot him or pulse wave him, which then you can start building your team around to making pulse wave a less effective option, let alone an option at all. So that's why I really like him. Then you got Captain America, Samantha Wilson. She's broken. I've said it. I've said what needed to be said. She's broken. If Captain America is being carried, modify the carrying character speed value by +3. So technically you now have a +1 movement. Yay. Doctor Strange is stronger now. Okay, if Captain America has no action tokens, she can be given a non-free action after being carried. So she can use charge. Yay. With super strength. That's balanced. That's really balanced. Oh, she has 4 range, so she can shoot 2. Oh yeah, that's balanced. That's real balanced. For people playing Golden Age, you play this. You play whatchamacallit. You could play Lantern, give her a sniper rifle and like a butt-loaded enhancement, and watch your opponents be pissed off. You also could play the one Wonder Woman from the Justice League New 52 Fast Forces that after being carried could, charge. Yeah. So yeah, she is stupid strong. Shield keyword, soldier keyword. That trait plus super strength plus perplex, that's way too powerful. This is going to be at Origins. I'm not saying from my team or whatever else. I'm just telling you, this is going to be at Origins. This is an strong anti-Faust piece. Just being honest. Oh, I got perplexed up my attack, carrying a tank. Yay. Now I'm gonna hit. Oh, I hit you for 3. No, I hit you for 4 because I picked up a heavy. Okay, boom. Drop the tank on you. Boom, your Faust is dead. Or hell, I dropped the tank first, then deal the other damage. Your Faust is dead. Doesn't matter. Rachel Cole Alvarez. She's good because now she allows pick a power onto other pieces, and in particular, where I find this interesting is that you combine her and the Hawkeye, and now the Hawkeye has Psychic Blast while he's doing his thing, and that just makes him stupid. Anyway, Rachel Cole Alvarez, I feel, is a problem because when you start combining her with larger characters, higher point characters, she imbalances them really hard. So you take like a Galactus, for example, that's 3 targets. Then you are saying like, hey Galactus, you now have energy explosion with your 12 attack and 7 damage. Yeah, that's not right. And I know some people were like, oh, that's an extreme case, Dark Logos. That's a bit much, no one's really going to do that. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. If I'll say this, I shouldn't have to explain to anybody listening to the show how granting energy explosion or psychic blast or even precision strike is strong. Blaze Claw's fangs, man, whatever. RCE is a situational. I'm a mixed bag on that. I'm not saying that you add this with Jakeem for more stupid, pick a power, more powers, all the powers. But all of a sudden, certain other characters now become a lot more deadly because you're able to grant them one of these powers, and then she can use the other power. Which, in all honesty, she doesn't have any reason not to just about every time pick RCE. Like, realistically. Give the penetrating damage power or the anti-evasion power or the splash power to the other character, and then give her RCE to follow up when it's done. Like, that's almost common sense, is that you should be able to about waste your opponent between those two powers. Whatever you pick and RCE. And now she's doing, you did whatever blank you did. Let's just say you did 4, and she follows up for 5. Something should be dead, or else you're doing it wrong. Okay? Then you have the I took my husband's name, which really wouldn't be correct because if her husband's name was Alves, then she would be Rachel Alves, not Rachel Cole Alvarez, because Cole would be her maiden name. So yeah, that's probably like the worst, like, non-corresponding line in heroclix. Well, probably up there, top 10 at least. Anyway, Rachel Cole Alves is considered to be named Punisher for all game effects. Did she marry the Punisher? Did she? Someone tell me she married the Punisher. Anyway, for all game effects, even when she's off the map, once per game, when Rachel Cole Alvarez would be KO'd, instead turn her to click 6. Yeah, she has a non-counterable stop click. It's a non-counterable stop click. So, yeah. Now, I know some of you would say, well, she gets pulse waved and then she can't use it. Well, that's true. But still, I don't know how many people are going to be like, oh, yeah, Rachel Cole Alvarez. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I pulse wave her at the end. I'm going to save my Sunfire for that. That's not going to happen. Next up is Ironheart. Now, Ironheart, oh, she does start off, she is a flyer. Okay, I thought she started off with Earthbound, and she doesn't. She starts off as a flyer. 9 movement, 10 attack, 4 range, doesn't matter, you're never shooting. 2 damage, 18 defense, doesn't matter, you're never shooting. And you have Outwit. Now, for 25 points, I think that Ironheart is a really good piece. You do have the armor falling apart on me. Ironheart begins the game with 1 broken armor token. When she is dealt damage, instead roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. If the result is equal to or less than the number of broken armor tokens, she is KO'd. If not, turn her to that click number and give her another broken armor token. This can't be ignored. Okay, you could, get to other parts of the dial if you're stupid lucky, but more than likely, the dice is going to kill you. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. The dice is going to kill you. I mean, whenever she's dealt damage, I really wish it said is dealt damage by an attack, because then that would give you an incentive to push and then carry her around and, to go to prop. Because I feel like if you're able to go to prop, her value would go up. But as a 25-point attacker, you're playing her if you can't afford Black Panther. Armor and Scientist, there's bound to be cool stuff that you can add on to her to make her cool. Then you have Captain America Steve Rogers. He has the Shield, Hydra, Avengers team abilities just straight up right there. That's stupid wild card fodder. And oh yeah, we have a set full of wild cards. He has Charge, 12 attack, 18 defense, 3 damage, starting off at 75 points. I don't know what to say. Oh, how about it being 7 clicks deep and an average attack of 11.5? Or you can even argue 11.2. Okay? Wow. That is some crap. That's some crap. That's way too deep in New Whiz Kids, meta math for clicks of life. And I know, again, Chase, understand. But you have to understand, team abilities inflate costs because they're a constant. All right. A Charge, 12 attack, 18 defense, 3 damage. That's a power combination between Charge, Precision Strike. That costs more. A 12 attack on click 1 costs a whole lot. So pretty much because it's a chase, it's getting discounted at least a hefty 35 to 40 points. At least. And in some people's cases, they could even argue 75 points. If you look at some other Captain Americas that got up to the 12 attack mark. Then you have who else is secretly with me. During Force Construction, characters that have the Avengers keyword also have the Hydra keyword. So you can now just bring other people into Hydra teams. Which, if we look at like Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., like all the stuff that we have there, and making, dumb theme teams that shouldn't exist. Other friendly characters with the Avengers keyword can use the Hydra team ability. Another unexpected betrayal. At the beginning of the game, choose an opposing character. Whenever that character hits Captain America with an attack, roll a d6. That character's result is, if the result is 4 through 6, that attack deals no damage to Captain America, and for the rest of the game, don't roll for this ability again. Did Jakeem not roll use Running Shot Pulse Wave on Captain America? Might have a chance to use this protected 50-50 shot. Yeah, this is dumb. This is too strong. Oh yeah, he has leadership too. Now he doesn't have, silly leadership where he can take tokens off of, other characters that are quadruple his point value. But, that'll come later. Freaking stupid. Oh gosh, he's so stupid. Hulk, I'm just going to summarize. You hit the Hulk, he gets stronger, and then he can get really stupid and get way stronger than what he should be. And he has stop clicks. That, if you have a will and you find a way, you can get regen on him. I'm really, really just waiting for someone to figure out a way of playing this Hulk and then living on those stop clicks so that he can't die. And I think it's going to be a teleporter with the Ares card, personally. But I can't guarantee that. Because, again, you're going to need, you're going to actually need regen. So if you're able to actually get regen, and if, I'm going to say this, and I really hope I'm not speaking this into existence and that this doesn't exist. If there's a stupid hammer in the Thor set that gives still energy or regen, please, dear Lord, let it have a point restriction so it cannot be put on this Hulk. Because if it can, this is also going to be part of the new meta, which is, can I dogpile Hulk, who is able to pick the magical Zero-Hour hammer from the freaking Thor set. Okay, so yeah, like I said, Thor gets stupid. That's pretty much how this works. Now, you should have improved movement, ignores blocking, but that would just be too broken, I guess. Alright, then there's Black Panther Shuri. This is Black Panther's sister. She's 105 points, and I know some of you would say, I wasn't really a fan of her as Black Panther. I was sort of a mixed bag on her. I sort of felt it was just like, oh, hey, Black Panthers can be girls, and yeah, let's just make her Black Panther during Doom War. Doom War. You hurt my soul. But she was so good. Anyway, she's strong too. She's not fully Samantha Wilson strong, but she is a threat. First, she has Chosen of the Panther God. Black Panther can use Sidestep Stealth, so she has traded Sidestep Stealth, which is really important when you start looking at that flurry, blades, claws, fangs, super senses, prob clicks that she ends on. Yeah, that exists. Vibranium Weave Uniform, special power. Black Panther can use combat reflexes and super senses, so you pretty much functionally have full dial super senses. And then after Precision Strike gets toned down, this actually might be a lot more viable than it is now. Cunning Ruler, Black Panther can use Outwit. When she does, she may also decrease the defense value of that character by 1 until her next turn. By 1 until her next turn. So she also has a little bit of a control in there, or a minor shenanigan. Like, hey, look, I'm going to outwit your defense. You're going to be -1, defense until my next turn. Okay, so not only do you not have invincible anymore, you're now a 17 defense. Now here's the other cool thing. If you so choose, there's nothing stopping you from playing another Black Panther chase and outwitting, and the effects would stack. It's nothing stopping you. Real quickly, going to go over the fast forces and sort of show you why the fast forces are dumb too. You have Daredevil. He's 6 clicks. He has Outwit. He's 75 points. But he has Protector of Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil can use stealth whenever another friendly character within range and of equal or less points is targeted with an attack. After action resolve, you may heal Daredevil 1 click. Yes, that is true. It's right there. Whenever a friendly character within range and of equal or less points, so 75 points or less, is targeted, not hit or dealt damage, after action resolve, that he may heal Daredevil 1 click. This just gives him a lot of survivability. You just need to find a way of giving him damage reduction. That's really it. If you can give him damage reduction, heck, even toughness, he's going to be really, really hard to kill. He has improved movement, ignores hindering elevation and character, so he can get into position. Plus an outwit. And that's a lot of utility right there. Next up is Luke Cage. He has improved movement, destroys blocking. Just for that element, from Avengers keyword perspective, I like it. But I would also pick Cannonball over him if you needed to destroy blocking in the new meta. But from a melee perspective, I understand why. He has Protector of Harlem. When Luke Cage is given a second action token, you may heal him 1 click, which is really good because he has Indomitable. So he can just sort of crank himself up and keep healing and making himself a really hard presence to take down. And I think a lot of people underestimate that. Is this top tier S-class meta good? No, just because of the attack value is crap and there's no super strength. But overall, I really like this because it gives you an incentive to constantly put tokens on him. He also is a anti-Mitzelplick, sort of, because Mitzelplick can't really do damage to him. Once the second token is applied, he's just like, oh yeah, he'll back up. So there's that. Then you have Iron Fist, and he's less of a disappointment than his Netflix series. Had to get a jab in there, even though I didn't watch it. Charge, 12 attack, 18 defense, combat reflexes, 3 damage with CCE. That right there, again, somebody is... They're on some pills. They're on pills. They're not on crack. They're on professionally given pills that they're taking on a consistent basis. You have the Immortal Weapon of Kung Lung. When Iron Fist clears action tokens, you may heal him 1 click. Yeah, that's going to stack up faster than Luke Cage's effect. But of course, Luke Cage has damage reduction, Danny Rand doesn't. But if you could give Iron Fist any form of damage reduction, that would be great, and it would make it so he's even more stupider. Yeah, more stupider. That just tells you how tired I am. Next up is Jessica Jones at 75 points, tougher than she seems. When Jessica Jones is hit with an attack after actions resolve, you may heal her a click. I don't know. I'm not quite sure on how I feel on that. She starts off with Superhero Landing. Jessica Jones can use Charge and improve movement ignores characters. When she uses Charge, she can use it normally, or she can choose not to have her speed value. If she does not have her speed value, she must use Quake as her close combat action. I like that, considering that her damage value is 2. Okay, so there we go. Then you have Punisher with triple targets, full dial, energy explosion, and running shot and sidestep. I like that. That is a lot of damage output. Then you have his trait, Delivering Punishment. When Punisher damages 1 or more opposing characters with an attack after actions resolve, you may heal him 1 click. So he has every incentive to just keep shooting. Every incentive to keep shooting. Then you have Elektra, who has charged combat reflexes exploit. Some flurry of blades, claws, fangs, and just the alternating between the two. Elektra can use stealth when opposing character is KO'd. After action resolved, you may heal her one click. This by far is the weakest unless you're killing Pogs. If you're killing Pogs, this can be stupid. But if you're not killing Pogs, this is not that great. When we look at the OP kit, the Man Without Fear, T'Challa. I'm just going to say I'm coming for you. I'm going to rescue you from the clutches of the people that think that they'll have you. And I will bring forth a warfare unbeknownst and unknown to man in many years. That's enough. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All right. I'd like to thank you all for listening. It's been a full jam-packed show. Almost 2 hours, and definitely taking a lot longer than what I wanted it to be. Just some brief overviews. I think this is a good set for the future. I think there's some things right now that can shake up the meta more than I actually initially thought. I think there's some key elements that if you're keeping the future in mind, you're keeping how the rules changes are going to be, and sort of generally how the powers are going to change, I think there's some key figures in the set that will allow you to come out on top. On the other hand, I think there's some other major concerns that I have as a player going forward, which is how is WizKids really going to balance damage output in clicks of life, because we're seeing some inconsistencies that really favors certain characters and certain play styles and not so much others. Jessica Jones does help in that anti-stealth field more so than any other figure to date, and there's nothing stopping you from playing two of her just to sort of ensure that you have her or have that effect throughout the game. But I still would say that there still is high stock in melee, and we can see that in Samantha Wilson. So we're moving, or better yet, we're in a Alpha Strike meta. The defensive nature of a lot of the figures from the last 3 to 4 sets is starting to be just gradually eroded. The only thing that I still see that is still an issue is barrier, but I feel probably the counter for that is coming here real soon, or more along the lines of, if you want to have anti-barrier, WizKids is saying we gave you that option with the invaders, and all the invaders give you anti-barrier, anti-smoke cloud. So if you need that, you have it. There's no excuse. So that's pretty much for today's show. I really like to thank you all for listening and staying with it, or even coming back to it after a bit. If you want to donate to the show, you can visit over to the blog. It's in the link below. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at startoverpod. It came from outer space and told me time is relative, but you still need to go to bed. So if you want to get a Phoenix Nest shirt, you can get one from the link below. And again, like I said, I thank you all for staying with me. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.